Welcome to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast, where world-changing spiritual entrepreneurs come to deeply awaken the power within to bring forth their greatest purpose, to create massive awakened impact for millions of souls around the planet, while enjoying being in tune with all life and real wealth in all aspects of their lives. I'm your host, Daniel John Hanneman. And welcome everybody. I'm so grateful to have you here. Another Spiritual Rockstar Podcast show. I've got an amazing guest today. Oh my gosh. If you're a highly sensitive person, if you're empathic, and you're wondering, how do you figure this whole entrepreneurial journey out? I mean, this is the person in the world to really pay attention to. Like she has got this thing really dialed in as best as you can, I suppose, right? So, and it's going to help to guide you with it so that you don't feel like, man, I'm so sensitive. I just want to give my work away sometimes. And, I don't know how to show up out there because it's too much. I'm taking on people's energies and I don't know how to run my team because I would constantly feel like I got to get in there because of this or that. So she's going to help you to pierce through all that stuff, even your personal life. Oh, but I got to worry about this. I can't focus on my business right now, blah, 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 blah. So anyway, so Elena, I'm so grateful you're here today.
Thank you so much for this wonderful introduction. And I'm super excited to talk all things sensitive entrepreneurs.
Yeah, all right, cool. So let me tell you a little bit more about Elena. Elena Herdieckerhoff, hopefully I got that close, is an award-winning serial entrepreneur and successful TEDx speaker with over 5 million views on YouTube. In her TEDx talk, she explains why we need to change the prevalent cultural narrative around highly sensitive people. Amen. As a highly sensitive person herself and an acclaimed intuitive business coach since 2014, she empowers other highly sensitive people, HSPs around the world, to turn their sensitivity into their greatest asset in life and business. Amen. Her big mission is to create a love revolution led by caring souls to affect global change and raise human consciousness to the next level. Elena is also a Reiki Master and long life spiritual seeker. When she is not helping others pursue their dreams, she is passionate about studying consciousness and psychology, living an organic lifestyle, and enjoying time with her beloved family and friends. Oh yeah, that's important, very much so. Okay, yes. Great, Elena. So, yeah, I mean, the people are heart-centered, highly sensitive, which I know is not one and the same, but people are sensitive around wanting to help people and to love on people and to really make a difference in the world. Often will sacrifice everything else just to make sure they could make that difference, right? They would sacrifice the money and everything else if they just knew they were making a difference, which is great, right? Isn't that like what the world needs more of in a sense, right? But then they're broke, they can't get their businesses going, or again, it's how far they really can progress in their business because they're so busy managing all this energy that they're picking up on that they don't feel like they have the bandwidth to expand or grow or to have let more in for themselves, etc. There's so many issues, right? So what have you learned about how to help people get through that bandwidth? Because a lot of the people listening are either have businesses or want to have businesses or want to grow their business. Like, how do people who are highly sensitive are picking up on this stuff all the time? How do they start to shift that? And maybe that'll lead into how you shifted it, but how do we shift that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I would say sensitive people are actually born entrepreneurs because they're highly intuitive. They can tune into their clients, their community, the needs of the world. They're usually also very gifted and they have a lot of drive and passion. So I would say in terms of a heart set and a skill set, sensitive people are uniquely well positioned to succeed. But what often gets in the way is our wound of not being good enough. And that gets triggered a lot because, every time a client says no to an offer, you might might feel, oh, maybe I'm not good enough, or maybe my prices are too high, or something is wrong with me. And because sensitive people typically get told from a very early age that something is wrong with them, or that they're somehow not like other people or not good enough, a business will constantly push that not good enough button. And so what that typically means is that then to make up for this, sensitive entrepreneurs often over deliver. They go the extra mile. They try to overperform. They're over perfectionists so that nobody can criticize them. They quote unquote give away the farm and then some, because they want people to be so happy with their services, and also to protect themselves from any negative feedback. And so what that usually leads into is burnout, both physical and financial. And basically this wound of not enoughness, I would say, is one of the core things sensitive entrepreneurs need to address to have a better energy management and a better business management, so that they don't lean into trying to counteract this wound, but actually healing it at its core, really doing some inner child healing work to reclaim those perhaps wounded parts of our past, and grow into a bigger sense of self-worth and self-compassion and love of self, so that you can mirror that kind of strength to the outside world, have better boundaries, have set better expectations of what is in and what is out in terms of what clients and your community can rightfully ask from you and your business, so that then you don't feel so burned out, you don't get so tired, and you have a better energy overall. So I would say that is the first place I would look.
Yeah. So what kind of hit me with what you're saying is, it sounds like it's around like these energetic boundaries is what I was hearing in my intuitive voice. I'm like, sounds like you need to work on those energetic boundaries. Where do the highly sensitives often bleed those energetic boundaries and other kind of boundaries that affect them, in their lives and their businesses? Can you talk to me about that?
Of course. So I would say our energy abilities are so pronounced that we can pick up on anything. And that can be fantastic because we'll notice everything. We can intuit many things, but we can also pick up things that maybe are not so good for us, right? So I always see, so we're almost like sponges. Anything can come in unfiltered. And we're in this form of osmosis with the world around us. And where we can leverage that in terms of our intuitive gifts and tuning in, and really, especially if we're in the helping or healing professions, really use that as a guiding asset in our business. What we need to do is we need to really get in tune with our bodies to make sure, are we letting things in that might pollute our energy system? Are we really practicing good energetic hygiene? Am I protecting myself adequately? Or do I just have all gates open? And so what I specifically had to learn is, first of all, set practical boundaries and then energetic boundaries. I'll start with the practical boundaries. So because sensitive entrepreneurs, we can easily lose steam if we get pushback online, or maybe criticism or the occasional hate or this kind of thing. That can already shut down a sensitive person for quite a few days and make them not want to be visible, make them not want to put out their next video on YouTube or anything like that. So you have to see, what kind of boundaries can you put in place? Can you maybe with your own energy practices say, I'm not going to read YouTube comments, for example, under my video. I made the decision for my TEDx talk not to read my YouTube comments because I thought I don't need other voices in my head. So this was one way for me to protect myself. Then I put boundaries in place that I don't check my work email on weekends, and I have an autoresponder that goes out and say, hey, I'll get back to you Monday to Friday. So it's about putting like simple but practical things in place that will reduce overwhelm and reduce access to you. And you can really commit to that, or you can also say, hire somebody to go through emails that come into your business, to filter them through before they even reach you. There are tons of things you can do in that sense. And then the other part, the more energetic part, is really tune into your body, tune into how do you feel around certain people and in certain situations? So maybe, before you say yes to a client, tune in. Is your body picking up on some stress levels? Or is there an instinctive response that kind of warns you that maybe this person could drain you? And then you can say, you know what, I feel a bit queasy after I talk to this person, or my energy feels heavier. Like, take those clues. Or if you're about to hire somebody in your business, how do they make you feel? And really go into your body. Do they create some heaviness in your body, or anxiety, or is your nervous system responsive to them? That means maybe there's something that you don't see right now, but that you see on an energetic level. And then it's your job to put filters in place and say, maybe you don't say yes to working with this client. Maybe you don't hire that person that triggers a feeling of heaviness, even if they have an excellent CV for the job. But you have to trust that your body can give you the right answers. And it's not always just the mind. So what I really had to learn as somebody who was very cerebrally driven for many years is to listen to the wisdom of my body, and to get in tune with, does this feel good to me? Does this feel bright and light and happy making? Or does this make me feel like, like a stormy weather in my body, like something doesn't feel right? And to trust that, and not say, well, just talk myself out of it because I maybe want that client or want to hire that person. To not talk myself out of what my body already knows. And that was one of the key ways I learned to take better energetic care of myself, is to really take the cues from my body versus from just my thinking mind.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. I mean, with what you said earlier, with the sense of, I don't fit in, I'm different, maybe I'm defective in a way. Maybe, so like for me, I think that I also probably built up some, definitely the sense of, I don't measure up to what seems to be what you're supposed to measure up to, in terms of socially or this or that or the other thing. Even in my performance in school or whatever, or my handwriting or thing, I'm like, and for me, I'm just like, I was more rebellious. I'm like, well, I'll show you by not doing it because you don't understand me, so I don't really care. So I took that attitude, especially early on, and but my point is that it's like realizing I have more to give to the world and to share, but there's no outlet for it. I feel kind of lost. And then once you start, finding those outlets as you get older, hopefully, and get into business as coaches and healers, which is most of the people are listening, those type of people, trainers or whatever, it's like, okay, wow, now I can, actually use these abilities more directly in this kind of work. We start waking up to that, and then we start using it. We become psychics and mediums or whatever, all the different stuff. And or just very intuitive with our business. So we start to harness those gifts, and we start to feel some of our value. And I think, like, for me, maybe there's been some overcompensation in that. I'll be like, whoa, look how intuitive I am, right? And go to that, right? But then we have such a strong, I don't know, is this true with highly sensitives? Like you said, you get very cerebral. You can be very cerebral, and I'm the same way. And I love, like, during your TED talk, you talked about, looking at a menu, you look through the whole 40 pages, but you end up ordering what you wanted in the first second anyway, right? Or whatever, right away, but you knew what you wanted anyway. And I'm exactly that person. Like when I go to the restaurant, typically anyway, and every once in a while I mix it up, but usually, I eat the menu, and then I'm like, and then if someone asks me, what are you going to order? I'm like, I'm not telling you. I don't even know yet. I'm going to wait till they come, then I will decide. And then when they come, I'm like, okay, I guess I'm going to order this. And so I think it's fascinating because it's like we realize we have a lot of power just being in our body and our intuition, but we have very active mental capacity that's powerful in a way too. So it is an interesting dance, the dancing between these two different things. And I tend to do this. I share a lot of concepts all at once. But anyway, I'm like, it is an interesting dance. So it's like, how can we, because it's easy to get caught up, like, this is a smart idea, I should do this in my business, I should hire that person, or I should take this client on, this is gonna make me so much money, but maybe something in your body is like, don't do it, don't do it. So I know you already kind of gave the answer, like, trust your body, but how are there practices we can use so that we can have more trust of our deeper knowing, and trusting our gifts more?
Absolutely. So I think many highly sensitive people experience this overthinking, which is also called depth of processing. So it's really, it's like I always feel we have a supercomputer in our brain that has like 50 tabs open all at the same time and information flashing left and right. So our brain doesn't come with an off button. And it's always in overactive mode, right? And that's part of the reason why, you know, we pick up so many subtle information. So our brain takes a lot of time to process, sort it out, and everything. So the overwhelm is almost a given with a highly sensitive person. Now the brain gets overwhelmed, but the body doesn't in the same way. So in the body, you can find a more grounded knowing. So if you don't know what to decide or what to do, or you have, you know, one half of your brain saying yes, the other half saying no, and you don't know what to do, I find a really helpful way is to maybe learn a muscle testing technique if you have a hard time tuning into your body or getting quote unquote out of your mind, is to work with muscle testing and then to see, is something a yes or a no. So that can be, you know, you can even look up online. There are many of different techniques that you can use to discern what does your higher wisdom want, because we might somehow think that the wisdom of the body is lower than the wisdom of the mind, but really it's a higher wisdom. It's basically an accumulation of what your brain knows, what your heart knows, and what your senses pick up, and your body kind of processes that and already tells you this is a good idea or this is a bad idea. And so you can use techniques of muscle testing, or you can also learn to look at your own body like a weather report and just see if you could turn an internal eye into your body when you're looking for a yes or no answer. Like if you look inside, do you see, like, would you have like a sunny weather or a stormy weather? Like, what would you see? What is the visual that comes up if you try to tune into the energy of your body? And then you can be like, you know, why am I having like a cloudy weather picture here? Something, I must be picking up on something that maybe cerebrally I didn't pick up on, but something is showing up in my body. Or you feel very light and elated and sunny on the inside. That means your body is in agreement with your mind. So any type of grounding practices, muscle testing, internal you know, visualization practices like that can help you to kind of take it out of the mind and into the body.
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, that's a whole process in itself there. Do you help people? You talk about harnessing love consciousness. So if we go there,
Yeah.
So what do you mean by that? What do you mean by like harnessing love consciousness in order for us to get on our, you know, greater pathway of success as sensitive entrepreneurs?
So for me, love consciousness is like mindset 2.0, because, you know, I grew up in, so to say, in a business world where there was a lot of talk about mindset, and I love mindset work, and I found it very powerful in many ways to also make necessary shifts in my life and business. But I realized there's something more than just mindset work. There must be something to shift our way of doing and seeing things completely. And I realized that pathway is consciousness. It's taking it one level above the mind and really into opening up your view to a different level. And I would say the majority of all entrepreneurs run their business on fear, because it's like fear of not enough clients, not enough money, not enough support, not enough time. So there's a lot of like not enoughness energy and fear energy. And what is the opposite of a fear energy, which is very restrictive and also, you know, dense energy, and that can keep you down, what is the opposite of that? What opens up perspective? So what opens up a shift is if you look at a situation not through this lens of fear and lack and not enoughness. What if you looked at the same business situations through a lens of love? What would happen if you literally had a consciousness shift from more fear-based view to a love-based view? And I thought, this is fascinating. If you move into love, then it's basically like wearing glasses that filter through life through a lens of love versus fear. And if you look at things through a lens of love, you'll get very different answers to the questions you might ask yourself. And if you ask yourself in any situation, what would love do here? Whether that's how you take care of yourself, and you can ask yourself on an overwhelmed Friday afternoon with a full inbox still to go through, what would love do right now? Maybe love would tell you to sit in the sun for 10 minutes and have a glass of water. Maybe that's what love would tell you to do before you tackle the email list. Maybe if you have a conflict issue and you are triggered and you want to respond right away, maybe with a more angry response. And then if you ask yourself, what would love do, kind of instantly shifts your perspective to a more compassionate lens, both for yourself and perhaps for the other person. And if you think about money opportunities, you might be driven to say, oh, I need to make X amount this month to pay all these and these bills. And it will put you in a very constricted energy of like, I have to make this happen, hustle culture, going for it. And you might deplete yourself. You might get out of the flow. But if you ask yourself, what would love have me do to make this money? You'd kind of relax yourself. You'd look at it differently. You'd be like, what feels most aligned to me? What actually allows me to breathe? What would feel good to offer my clients? What kind of gift of love can I give them? And it just shifts things. So basically for me, it's shifting business from the head to the heart. That is ultimately love consciousness in business for me. And it helps you prioritize your intuition over your intelligence. It allows you to pull things into your reality versus pushing things to make them happen. It allows you to be in a state of flow versus a state of control. And it allows you to be more in alignment versus then action. And I think these shifts for me have done more for me personally and for my business than mindset work have done. And so that's why I advocate love as a way of life, as a way of seeing life, approaching yourself and your business.
Yeah. Wow. Yes, absolutely. I mean, but it's the opposite of what our mind has been conditioned to, right? Like hustle, no, make it happen. You have to work 100 more hours this week. That's what you do. You just do it, you know, like just do it. And, you know, and I always use this example, like I could use business probably too, but I have different examples, but I always like my tennis examples. Like I remember playing tennis, and you know, one time I have two examples I'll use real briefly to illustrate what you're talking about. Like one example is like, we're down, we have to win this match. I will do absolutely whatever it takes to win this match. We're winning this match. And I summoned the will and the focus and we won the match. But my body was like being torn apart in the process, you know, and it leads to injury. It didn't immediately that day, but like, you know, it breaks you down. It breaks you down. It's not sustainable. It's not joyful. It's not joyful. Certainly, it's just like, yeah, got it done. All right, I'm powerful, right? Then I have like I always talk about my 8 weeks in a summer league where, like, no matter who I was partnered up with, it was rotating partners and everything. I'm not like a better player, you know, skill wise necessarily than everybody else. Was in the same skill level, but I was winning every single week, every single match, every single week, because I was so present. I was so connected. It was my only focus. Yes, I fed myself a couple of positive, you know, thoughts here and there, but mostly it was just all flowing for presence. And it was joyful, it was fulfilling, it was like I was detached, it just was all in the flow, right? And so in business, it's the same way. We could use examples there where, yeah, you can produce the result by being hard-headed and hustle and all that. But especially for sensitives, it's not sustainable. You're going to blow your circuits 100% if you're sensitive, and it won't work out, and eventually it is hard to unpack it, all that trauma, all that stuff, if you just keep going down that old path. So the faster you can trust it, the better. And I think the scary thing for people is, how am I going to pay those bills off? How am I going to get enough sales? How am I going to, do my next big thing? How am I going to, am I going to work enough hours? Am I going to mean enough? Am I going to do enough good work for my clients? Like, all these fears come in. So how do we deal with that aspect? Like, with the mind that is so fearful of all these things based on conditioning, and just the way the brain is wired to be very danger sensitive. I know even my brain today, like if I'm a little tense, like I'll hear the birds chirping, I'll be like, maybe we should shoot those birds. Maybe they're a threat. Like, that's my male brain too, probably. But I'm like, threats, kill them all. Yeah. But if I'm in a good state, I'm in a beautiful state, I'm like, oh my God, more birds, please, like, be just the opposite. But our minds are just insane with survival and all this stuff. What are some of your tips to help deal with that part of ourselves?
Well, basically what you're speaking to there is when our survival parts are triggered, right? When we have the feeling we are in survival mode because we need to make certain amounts of money or need to reach certain goals or have obligations in or outside of our business to meet. So our brain will naturally lean into fear and lean into pressure, because we're taught that if you work harder, longer, and push more, you'll have better results. But this is where we need to challenge that assumption that hustle produces more work than flow. Because in my own experience, the times where I was super stressed and hard-knuckled my way through projects, the outcome was always subpar. The more I trusted was in self-compassion, gratitude, and grace for myself, and also trust that somehow everything will work out for me somehow, that then always delivered better results. And what I learned is that part of the problem is setting goals in a too dense and hard manner. So I'm German, as you can probably tell by my accent, and as Germans, so it's like, you have your strategy and you have your plans and you have your deadlines and your timelines and all that good stuff. And I realized it's actually counter to my nature. I'm better if I allow myself more flow, and if I also allow myself to adjust my plans as I go. So maybe you're in the middle of a launch of something and you say, I need to have 10 people for this group program, or I need this and that to make my revenue goals. So if you keep your eye only on those 10 people for your group program, you will instantly be stressed. You'll be counting every sale that comes in. You'll be in a restrictive energy and probably not a lot of flow. But what if you said, I hope that I attract the right people to my group program and that I will meet my financial goals in whichever way works out best for all involved, including myself and my business. So maybe what will happen is, through your marketing that you're doing in your launch time, maybe you'll attract 2 very high paying one-on-one coaching clients that you didn't even think about attracting, that will make up for maybe the 3 people you're not going to get in your group coaching program. And overall, maybe you'll even exceed your revenue expectations. And then you didn't have to stress about those 10 people, because maybe you can make your group work with 6 people and you will make the revenue up with other opportunities that you didn't even think about. So I think it's about trying to not hard knuckle it, hold on too tightly to fixed goals, allowing a margin for some beautiful miracles to come in, and taming the beast of fear by saying, I've always made it through. I have 100% survival rate so far. Still here. So somehow life has always worked out for me. And I'm not saying it's always great, but somehow we all made it through. Everybody who's listening right now, they're still here, right? So we maybe didn't always get what we wanted, but we always made it through. And I think we can draw on that to know that even if things don't go to plan, even if we don't get what we think we want, we can also release some of that control and say, I'm going to be okay. I've always been okay. I've always found solutions. And then you don't have to hold so tight to this goal or that goal and have to push through and have to make it happen. You can be more in a flow state. And ironically, the more you let go and the more you have a relaxed attitude and a loving attitude for yourself and other people and be self-compassionate, guess what happens? You're going to attract more good things, including money. So it's the irony that the less tightly you hold on, the more things can come to you. And the more tightly you hold on, the harder sometimes it can be to get the things you really want.
Do you want to meditate and make money? Let it be simple. Let it be easy. Let it be fun. Go to yoursacredpurpose.com and get your free Meditate, Make Money meditation today. Right. I agree. Again, the exception is sometimes, anyway, with great force, you can will yourself into it, but with a huge penalty, and it's not sustainable.
Yes. Yes.
So it's totally not worth it. I've found from flow, more is possible. More is possible. Not only is it nicer and more enjoyable, but there's more available and you're likely to see greater results, has been my experience with it. So that's brilliant. Yeah, and I love that because the mind wants to do it the way we've been taught. Set that goal, do your numbers, do that. This adds up to that, and then if we get this, then we have that, and but when we're in more of a connected state of, I don't know, it feels like 300 grand revenue this month or whatever, or whatever, 3 grand or whatever the business is, but it's kind of feeling like this right now. I don't know, it could change. It just feels good right now. And that's what my heart set is, maybe. We talk about heart set sometimes, right? And so I'm kind of feeling that, and I'm just going to bring love to that. I'm just going to bring, my energy to that, and just be in a flow and creative, and just kind of see how it wants to go. And knowing that, when you feel the creative impulse, you do need to act. I think that's where some people miss it, when they get too in the, I'm just flowing, baby, and then they don't take the action. So how do we, make sure that we get in the habit of, I know you said what would love do here and all that, but sometimes I think people get in a place where they're like, I just want to let go of everything. I just want to be, I don't want to do anything. I don't want to be inspired necessarily. Even I've heard people get to that stage, right?
Yeah.
They just get so into, it's got to be precisely inspired. And I mean, so you can go too far in that sort of direction. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that totally makes sense. And I would actually say that is not love, because that is actually fear in disguise. That's a sexy way of procrastinating, is by saying, I need to wait for the muse. I need to wait for my flow state. I'm just going to let it all go and sit on my couch and meditate, and the dollars will arrive on my bank account. I would say that's actually just a clever way of avoiding doing your mission work. So love would not tell you to sit on your couch and meditate all day. Love would tell you that you have a responsibility to do your life's work, but you don't have the responsibility to control the outcome. You just have the responsibility to show up as your best, most loving self. And if you've done your part truly, fairly, and honestly, and you've committed to showing up with your gifts and offering them in the best way you know how, and you trusted your divine guidance, then the outcome is where you can release control, but not necessarily in the not showing up, if you see what I mean. So it's a slight nuance there, but it's an important nuance, is that we can't abdicate our role in our co-creative process. And saying basically, I'm going to check myself out of these responsibilities is not about being in divine flow. That's about avoidance.
Right. So there's still the commitment thing, but it's coming more from, definitely much more from the heart, and what would love do here, what would love want to commit to here, and
Yes.
and then you're in that beautiful state, and you're generous, you're giving, you're showing
Yeah.
up to do all the great things you want to do to help people in the world, and you're really loving yourself. You allow yourself to receive what you're meant to receive in that, and all
Yes.
those types of things. So that's beautiful. So I know that you have a number of ways I believe you help people with all these sorts of things. So if people want to, some pretty cool things. So I'd love for you to share, like, what are some tools that you wanted to give to people today to walk away from the interview and be like, okay, because there's so much more. Like we could have a 3-hour interview here talking about this very deep subject. So, but what was another step they could take maybe with you to learn more about how to embody more of what we've talked about today?
Sure. I have a free resource available for everybody. It's my Sensitive Success Suite. And basically, in there, you will find a resource guide with some of my favorite resources to become a successful, sensitive entrepreneur or to take your business to the next level. I have also Reiki infused screensavers with empowerment messages that you can download on your computer or on your mobile phone, as well as an empowerment meditation for sensitive people, specifically to step into your sensitive gifts, so that you can find on my website. So my personal website is elenaherdieckerhoff.com, but this specific guide you can find on that website, but also under sensitivesuccess.com/suite. So you have that option as well to go there directly if you wanted to download that.
Nice,
of course,
nice.
Other than that, you can connect with me on social media or over my website if you'd like some idea of how, as an intuitive business coach, I could support you on a more personal level.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll put the link into the show notes for everybody, and to take advantage of that. And yes, check out Elena on all the different social media
Thank you so much.
all over the place. So I'm grateful for what you're sharing today. And so before we start to even think about wrapping up here, I'm wondering if we just take a minute to just pause and get into the space and see if I often give downloads to my guests to see if there's even one download. We're on a little bit of a shorter time frame today. But see if there's even one download I have for you. But let's have everybody tune into your heart, tune into a deeper space. As we're doing that, if I get a download for Elena, I'll share that with her after we're done. I'm sure I will. And then we'll go from there. So you might capture something amazing. So let's just take a moment of silence for you to tune into your heart. Ask, what would love do here? Okay. All right, everybody. Hopefully you got something amazing. I'm grateful for what came through for me. And so I'm looking forward to what wants to unfold there. And it definitely made me feel happy. I got lighter. I was like, whoa, okay, great. Yes, let's have that. So great. So whatever you got, just have that sense of, like, you don't have to make a goal, okay, plans, but just like feel that sense of connection and the commitment that's in it already, and just flow with it, baby. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so Elena, I didn't specifically was tuning into you, but I can just, it's abracadabra for us sensitives. It's easy, right? So, so what I'm sensing with you is just look into your energy, because I'm a scanner, tuner, inner channeler, everything, and I'm seeing like a lot of like open, starry sky night kind of energy around you. I see crystal energy, wanting to be more embodied within you. And yeah, it feels like there's there's maybe still some restrictions in terms of the pressure of energies. Like I see it like up towards the head showing up to me first, but also in the solar plexus and down there. So you've got like some more softness settling in to the root, some springiness, and that sacral so powerful for you. But there's some tension. And there could be some concern still, like what if people find out about, find something out about me? The usual kind of fears, I suppose, but find out whatever, those kind of fears. But so that can show up in your throat sometimes in your life and whatnot. But what I get is what they're pointing to is just the vastness that you're connected to, and the wizardry that's available to you, that when that stuff relaxes, that you're like an orchestrating your own universe, so to speak. Boom, 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 boom. Everything's right on time. Everything's like, okay, here, Elena, here's your bag to get on your plane now. They've got it all, whatever. They got everything set for you, right? Everything's just right on time, and it's so beautiful. So, and you can bring that to other people, is what I'm also feeling. Like, you can bring that kind of order into someone else's life to a degree too, because once they get open and more connected, all of a sudden they find like that's happening more for them too. So it's a beautiful gift. So I just wanted to share what's coming through. Elena, any quick thoughts or reflections?
Thank you so much for doing that. Yeah, it's interesting. In Greek, my name means bringer of light, and I think that's probably what you tapped into there. That I think when I can connect to somebody, not just professionally, also personally, that typically that I can help people to recall their own light and to maybe shine even brighter together. And that's probably the thing I love doing most in my life, is to share light, reignite the light in others, and also help them shine into other people's lives with what gifts they have. So it's a chain of light, and that is, I think, my deepest passion and joy to be part of that. So thank you for sharing that as well.
Yes, absolutely. Keep it light, right? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
All right, so keep it on the light side. If you want to check me out as well, you can go to yoursacredpurpose.com, get your free meditate and make money meditation. That definitely lightens things up, get you more connected. And although, if you just sit there eating potato chips and listening to my meditation, you may or may not see any shifts. But if you really get present with it and you keep following your nudges, people are always coming back telling me that it's really making a difference for them. So check out the free meditate, make money meditation, and also other opportunities for me to, connect with you, like the Rock Your Sacred Purpose Energy Scan Consult, where I can tune into you, see who you are, and help feng shui your energy into the prosperity you're looking for, and also my own strategic mind, etc., for your business. And to align everything that really, really, really wants to happen through you. So check that out at yoursacredpurpose.com. All right, so Elena, I always like the guests to give us some last message to wrap things up. So any last words for everybody?
Yes, I would say is follow your heart, trust your heart, question your mind more. And trust your heart and your body's wisdom, and maybe also know that as a sensitive feeling person, your life might not always be the easiest one, but it's a very precious gift to the world. So know that you're needed here and loved and appreciated for your presence. So keep shining bright and keep going.
Yes. All right. I love that. Awesome send off. So thank you so much, Elena, for sharing. Everything you shared today is really, really great. And perhaps we'll have you back another round at some point, because I feel like we could have gone so much deeper. And so I'll look forward to whenever that may want to happen. And for everybody listening, thanks for listening in. Like I always say, keep on listening, and we'll keep on rocking it here at Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. Till the next time, everyone.
Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. Stay tuned for our next upcoming new episodes each Wednesday and Saturday. Please be sure to subscribe, rate, and review to help us to serve you best. As a reminder, you can get your free Meditate and Make Money meditation at www.yoursacredpurpose.com to rock your sacred purpose. Goodbye for now, everybody.